I own a printing company that I run with my wife. Her cousin came to us and wanted us to do all the signage, banners, guest books, life-size cutouts, etc. for her wedding. We do this all the time for friends' weddings and events, and we never charge. We're happy to help out, and it's usually a lot of fun working together to make some cool stuff. A few weeks before the wedding, her wedding planner tells us they need all the items by X date so they can set it up for the wedding. At this point, we hadn't received our wedding invitations and didn't even know when the actual wedding was. My wife texts her and tries to clarify when the wedding is and if we missed the invitation somehow. Her cousin replies and says, "Oh, we downsized the wedding and we decided to have like close friends and family thing, and that they didn't have space for us in the small venue." My wife and I are pretty hurt and insulted. And on top of it, we spent nearly $2,000 on all the materials. Her cousin and the wedding planner kept making tiny revisions to the artwork, had us print samples to see how it would look in person, resize several of the items a few times, etc. All that cost a ton of time and money, and we're a functioning business, so we either had to delay other orders or stay late and print her stuff on our own time. So I went ahead and billed her for our own cost and said we needed payment before delivery because I'm not going to chase her for payment for months and years after the wedding. So we're not making money on it, just charging her for the materials cost. So far, we've gotten threatening calls from the cousin, her fiancé, some random members of my wife's family that I don't know, some of the groomsmen, etc., essentially calling us idiots for sending her the invoice. After the harassment, I'm considering charging full price, or else we won't deliver the items. Are we the idiots here? Sorry, but I'm not going to waste my hard-earned time and money on someone who doesn't consider us close friends and family. Sorry, we had to downsize the discount to cover close friends and family only. I say go ahead and charge full price. Their behaviour is straight up tacky. They're close enough to ask for this work as a free favour, but not close enough to invite you to their wedding? Not the idiot. Exactly. Wedding gifts are from guests. They can't expect a wedding gift from people who didn't make the cut. Definitely not a $2,000 wedding present. Once you and your wife were cut, it became a business transaction, and you have every right to bill them and receive payment before delivery. They used you. Look at how much money they saved. $2,000 is not a typical wedding gift. They deliberately didn't tell you that you weren't invited so that you would do all that work for free. I get so mad at people like your cousin because they ruin it for everyone. Now you're going to have to write up contracts and invoices in case the next person screws you over too, instead of just getting to do a nice thing for someone who is super appreciative of your hard work and kindness. Tell them if they keep up the threats, they won't be getting any of the materials either. If they don't consider you close enough to be at the wedding, you're not close enough to give them your work for free. What a bridezilla. And groomzilla too. Actually, sounds like a whole family of zillas with the threatening calls from everyone. Oh man, your poor wife, and screw these people. That isn't family, as they've made clear. I, female 36, met my boyfriend 38 months ago. He waited to introduce me to his parents and decided that I'd meet them at his 36th birthday party that was held at their house. Not gonna lie, I was nervous about a number of things. I'm over 30, but I can still get anxious. I'm an introvert, yay, around new people. We got to their house. There were more guests than I thought, like a lot more. When we sat down for dinner, his dad looked me over head to toe and said, "Oh, goddamn, I thought you'd look a lot older than you do. You've still got a good 10 years of kitten left in you." I was shocked and completely baffled. The whole table went quiet, and I couldn't even look around me but knew they were staring at me awkwardly. My boyfriend and his dad were laughing hard. Finally, I got so overwhelmed that I excused myself, got up, took my stuff, and started making my way out. My boyfriend followed me while asking where I was going and why. I stood at the door and pointed out his dad's comment about my age. He said his dad is just like that, brutally honest, and tells it like it is, so I shouldn't take it personally. I told him it was personal because it felt like he was rating me and my functions as a human based on age. He was like, "Come on, do you always have to be so dramatic? Let it go, it was literally nothing." He told me to go back inside, but I decided to go home. He was livid. He sent angry texts talking about how disappointed he and his family were by how I walked out and disrespected them and gave them the wrong impression about me. He also said I ruined his birthday, overreacted to nothing, and should have laughed it off. He's demanding I reach out to his family with apologies and make it up to him. Am I the idiot? Did I overreact? Not the idiot. His dad called you a toy, an aging toy. In what world are you supposed to laugh that off? He disrespected you. You stood up for yourself and they didn't like that. They expected you to sit there and smile? That's absolute BS. The apple didn't fall far from the tree and you should throw it far away. OP, you just found out why your boyfriend is still single at 38 and why his next girlfriend will be 20. His father harassed you and he's defending it. This would be a deal breaker for me, honestly. I'm so sorry you went through that. The rest of the table was embarrassed right along with you. Pay more attention to the fact the only two laughing were your boyfriend and his dad. Sorry, OP. It looks like your boyfriend opted to emulate his daddy instead of taking after the other adult examples at the table. Your boyfriend defended him. Your boyfriend thinks you owe his dad an apology. Your boyfriend sees nothing wrong with how his dad behaves towards other people. I'm surprised the rest of the family tolerates either of them, and nowhere is it written that you are obligated to put up with rude crap. But that's just how he is. Oh, you mean he's an idiot? Got it. Boyfriend is also an idiot for not standing up for OP. Good grief. This is how it will always be with his family. He thinks it's funny, so he will be like this also. Yeah, I'd break up and find someone more respectful. I own a cottage on a lake. It's been in my family forever, but when my grandmother wanted to sell it, no one in the family was interested except for me. It's a beautiful old A-frame with a massive deck, and I also have a small dock. I love spending time out there, but I work in the city, so I use it to generate income. I rent it out over the summer, and I even get renters over the winter. My area has excellent cross-country skiing, and the ice fishing is great. No, I'm not advertising. My brother asked me if his family could use the cabin for 1 week this summer for their vacation. I checked which weeks it wasn't rented and offered him the cabin. My mom told me he didn't make a lot of money this year, so I didn't charge him. But I insisted on all the paperwork being filled out, liability waivers and insurance, that sort of thing. Well, on the last day I got a call about a small fire in the kitchen. He sent me some pictures and it was pretty minor, maybe $3,000 to fix. Accidents happen and that's why I have the insurance. So I told him I was glad no one got hurt and that I would take care of it. Lucky for me, I didn't have a booking for the next week, so I sent my handyman to do a clean-up, repair and repaint. I ended up having to replace the stove. It was old, so I would have to replace it in the next few years. Then, yesterday, my son, who is in school in another province, sent me a video. My 2 nephews were doing some TikTok challenges. It isn't in the video, but they're playing with flammable stuff in the kitchen sink and area. They were the ones who set the kitchen on fire. I was livid. I'd been told it was a grease fire. I called my brother and asked him to explain exactly how the fire started. He lied. I told him I had the video and that I knew his kids were playing with fire in my house. I told him he had to pay for all the repairs and to replace the stove. He said I was being unreasonable and that I'd already told him he didn't have to pay. I told him if he didn't pay, I was going to report an arson. He called our mom and told her I was taking food out of his family's mouth. She called me a selfish idiot for going back on my word. I explained that he lied and her grandchildren had set the fire. She says they're just kids and that I make enough money off her parents' vacation home. In the end, she paid me the money and she said that it meant she wouldn't be able to help my brother with anything for a couple of years. I don't think I'm wrong, but maybe, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Yes, accidents happen. My usual policy with accidents is the guest should offer to pay and the host should decline. However, this was not an accident. This was gross negligence. There is a difference. He also deceived you about the cause of the fire. You were willing to let him off based solely on your belief that this was an accident. However, his kids were doing something stupid, grossly negligent, dangerous, and very disrespectful of your property, and he lied to you about that. Hit him for every penny, and don't invite them back. When you found out the fire was deliberately set, it's pretty likely that insurance wouldn't cover it and that you'd have to pay out of pocket. You shouldn't be expected to lie to the insurance company after knowing the truth and commit insurance fraud. Sorry, no insurance coverage means that bro has to pay. Your perspective is entirely reasonable. I make enough money off her parents' vacation home. That's rich considering she didn't want it and you bought it, so it's your vacation home. Since the mother is so adamant that the brother not pay, then she should pony up. People like OP's mother cry about doing things for family, but that always seems to apply to other family members, not themselves. A lot of resentment there that the scapegoat child is doing so much better than the golden child and was able to afford to buy grandma's house. His financial situation is not your issue, and it sounds like he constantly runs to mom for money and guilts her into it. OP, I wouldn't let your brother or mother rent the house either. There seems to be a general attitude of, OP can afford it, so why should I be careful and treat it like a stranger's rental? My sister-in-law notoriously crosses boundaries when it comes to her dog. Last year, on Thanksgiving at my house, she brought her dog with her. She sat with the dog on her lap all through dinner, feeding the dog table scraps, which included taking chunks of the turkey and giving it directly to her dog, or taking scoops of the potatoes and letting her dog eat it directly off the spoon. Whenever she would stop feeding the dog for 0.2 seconds, the dog was trying to take from other people's plates. I don't care how much you love dogs. This is repulsive and disgusting behaviour. After speaking to my husband about it, I made it clear she wouldn't be welcome back in my home if she brought the dog with her. My husband agreed to this, and we both talked to his sister about her dog not being allowed back in our home because the dinner table behaviour was rude, inappropriate, and soured everyone's appetites. She was letting the dog lick her fingers and then proceeded to grab more food by hand without washing them, which means she was touching food with dog slobber fingers and expecting people to eat it. She said she understood but felt we were being a bit ignorant and tried telling us that we had dog phobia, but she would respect our wishes and not bring the animal to our house, even though I need her for emotional support. Fast forward to today. We had a family dinner planned for months and we reminded his sister not to bring her dog at least twice. She showed up here 45 minutes ago and, lo and behold, she had the dog with her. I told her she wasn't welcome inside and she immediately started flipping out with the, "You can't be serious right now, I drove 3 hours to get here." I reminded her that we told her several times the dog wasn't welcome, and she went off again, stating we couldn't have expected her to leave her baby at home 3 hours away. I stood firm and just closed the door because I wasn't about to argue or let her push my boundaries. Mother-in-law is angry, however, because she doesn't get to see her daughter often, and we should have just sucked it up this one time so she could see her kid. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. We should have just sucked it up this time so she could see her kid. And that's exactly why sister-in-law brought the dog. She counted on other people pressuring you to let her stay with the dog, despite being told not to bring it. You made the expectation clear. She had a choice: leave the dog home or decline the invitation. She doesn't get to dictate the rules in your house. Bingo. Sister-in-law tried to execute a power play. You can't let entitled people get away with garbage behaviour like this, otherwise they'll continually trample all over you. Dear mother-in-law can arrange her meeting with her dog and granddog. You aren't required to host them. Dog-phobic is killing me. I just know sister-in-law is the type to claim she's the victim. You aren't ignorant or dog-phobic. Most people don't want to eat their food with a side of dog slobber. She knew your rule ahead of time, and she decided to ignore it and try to force her way in with a temper tantrum. She drove for 3 hours. That is 3 hours plus committing to doing the wrong thing and not caring. She wasted her own time and energy hoping to waste yours. No empathy for that. I'm a father of 2 daughters, Bio, Chloe, tween female, and Hope, teen female, adopted. Their mother and I are separated. I remarried my current wife, Jenna. After getting overwhelmed with busy work schedules, I asked Jenna to handle daily and weekly activities, including taking the girls to the mall and buying what they wanted. I always ensure my credit cards are full and ready, especially when she tells me what the girls need. I've realised recently that Chloe has bought quite a lot of stuff, but Hope hasn't. I tried speaking with her about it and asked if the mall her stepmom takes her to is not good or if the stuff she finds there isn't nice. She refused to give a direct answer, so I didn't push it, but I let her know that I was always there to hear her out. After 5 days, I was at work, and Hope sent me a 37-minute long recording of her trip to the mall with her sister and stepmom. I listened to it after getting off work, and what I heard was unexpected. Hope told her stepmom that she liked to backpack and wanted it, but Jenna's response was to tell her that there wasn't enough money. Hope insisted, saying that she, Jenna, had enough money, but Jenna told her she still had to buy stuff for her sister. Hope insisted, which made Jenna snap and tell her, "Why don't you go look for Biodad and ask him to buy it for you if you want it so badly?" I was shocked. I had to stop the recording. I couldn't keep listening because of how upset I was. I immediately rushed downstairs to Jenna and the girls and had the girls go upstairs, then went off on her about what I found out. She kept denying saying it, so I had to listen to the recording. She said she didn't mean it this way and that her words were obviously taken out of context. I scolded her for treating Hope like that and told her that she gets whatever she asks for, regardless of who her father is. I then revoked all access Jenna had to my credit cards, every single one of them. She found out and blew up, saying that I was being unfair after all she's done to help me out in this area. I said I didn't want to hear it, and she kept yelling and then went to stay with her sister. We haven't spoken to each other since that day. She keeps talking to Chloe, though. Sister-in-law thinks that revoking her sister's access to credit cards is actually abuse. Honestly, this isn't a take away the credit card offense. This is a divorce her because she's cruel and this isn't going to get better kind of offense. Get rid of her. She's treating your adopted daughter like she doesn't belong in your family. I think your wife is a profoundly unkind and cruel person. Why would you want her around your kids? Yeah, you shouldn't revoke her access to the cards. You should revoke her access to the kids. Your kid was treated this way so often that she knew she could record Jenna behaving this way, and insecure enough in her position that she felt she had to record rather than tell you. This indicates that she's been abused by Jenna for a long, long time. I hate to be one of those people, but you are the idiot if you stay with her. Listen to the entire recording. Literally, it was sent for a reason. Doesn't matter how difficult you find it, she sent you 37 minutes of recording for a reason. Listen to it. I don't see how a marriage can return from this, though. Could you ever trust her around your daughter again, knowing how she's treated her? I wouldn't. At a bare minimum, there would need to be a lot of couples therapy exploring her false and damaging beliefs about adoption, where they came from, and how to dismantle them. And even then, I'm unsure if I would ever feel safe leaving her with Hope alone.